I was homeschooled. Am I a odd, strange person who can't make eye contact and doesn't enjoy talking to people and is a loner and not able to function in society? I mean, a little bit, yes, but is it because I was homeschooled? No! Hi, I'm Heather from Here Booktubes, and today is my November reading wrap-up. I read 26 books in November, which was a lower month for me. I blame that partially on the readathons that I did, because that's just how I am. You try and tell me what to do. I procrastinate reading, then I don't read as much, and then there you have it. However, I don't care. It's not a competition, so we are good. I DNF'd one book. One book. Who am I? I normally DNF like 10-ish, more-ish. But only DNF'd one, and so I'm super happy. If you want romance recommendations, please subscribe. Follow me on Instagram if you want to know what I'm currently reading and my thoughts on random things. And let's jump into this video. These are, as always, in chronological order. My very first one was Lock You Down, which is River Brothers #2 by Jessica Gadziala, and I give it 5 stars. This one has a trigger warning for the suicide of a loved one and the rape of a loved one. So want you to know that. That's a major part of the story, although I would still call this a happy read. This is about a happy couple, but that is the trauma that we're dealing with. It's a sweet romance during healing. So he has been hired because this guy has a stalker. He works for his brother's private security company, and the guy is a douche, and he's like, whatever, I get paid. She's probably not even a stalker, and she's the stalker. And so he's kind of trying to stop her, and also like super attracted to her, and she is very attracted to him and is trying not to let him stop her. It was delightful, and she runs a whiskey company, and I just really loved them, like always. It's a standalone romance in a series. You can read it by itself if you want to, and it is a Asian main character if that's something that you're looking for. Next I have Scary Hot, which is Until series and Club Alias crossover novella by KD Robichaux. I gave this 4 stars. It's a very alpha ex-military biker, and you see a lot of scenes from another couple's book. Because it's a crossover, you kind of see scenes from this couple's perspective of this couple's book in the series and this couple's book in the series. So I haven't read either of the books that I was referring to, and it was still fine. Our main character is a vet office worker. So some shenanigans. If you don't like super alpha and insta-love, you won't like this one. But I did give it 4 stars. Next I have Summer's Destiny. This is where we start in on the paranormal romance readathon, and so I will skim these if you've already watched those videos. But I read Summer's Destiny. It's a vampire novella. I gave it 3 stars. I thought it was very disjointed, and I don't have who it was by. Why? By Ariel Marie, and it was free on Kindle at the time. In the description I'll marked if it's still free. Then I read Court of Command, which is Age of Angels #1 by Milana. This is about Michael the Archangel. I gave this 4 stars. The main character is a human who remembers the world how it used to be before he recreated it, and basically that is a foothold for Lucifer, and so normally those people would turn into immediate zombie-like people with no free will of their own who just do whatever Lucifer tells them to, but she is actually able to fight Lucifer and is his fated mate. In between the paranormal readathon and the Love in the Night readathon, I read Conspiracy of Kings, which is the Queen's Thief series #4 by Whalen Turner. This is a young adult fantasy series which I'm rereading. I gave this one 5 stars. They're all 5 stars. I don't even know why. The whole series is 5 stars, people. And this one, the series is about a thief, and the end of each book reveals things that were happening in the book that you didn't realize, and it's extremely clever, and I love it. This one follows Sophus, who we saw in the first book, and we've heard about him a little bit from other people since the first book, but he hasn't been on page since the first book, and we're following his story as he tells what has been happening to him. And basically it's his story through betrayal and growing into the man that he needs to be. Then I read Second Chances, which is Chance Rapids #1 by AJ Winter. And this was, I gave it 4 stars. It was a cute small town romance. There's divorce, there's infertility, she's 43, she's the older woman, younger man. And the main source of conflict is that she's lying. I never liked that. So, but everything else about it I really enjoyed, and it was a novella. Then I read Spell of Desire Volume 1 by Tomu Omi, and this was my first ever manga. And I gave it 4 stars. I was a little confused. I didn't know what I was doing. I had to ask for help on where to read on the page. And it was a little bit repetitive. It's like every chapter there was a new recap. I don't know if that's true for all manga. I don't know. But it's a witch and she has too much power, and in order to like distract her because she doesn't know how to control her power, he kisses her. So that happens a lot. I really liked the artwork and the storyline. So, but I don't know what I'm talking about. Then I read The Sacrifice by Jessica Gadziala. This was, again, for the readathon. Lenore is a witch, and they are basically the good guys. And they have a long-standing treaty with the Demons Motorcycle Club that one in every generation gets sent as a sacrifice. And the witches don't know what happens to the ones that they send, but it keeps the demons from destroying them. Lai is a demon. He is not a good person. He is a demon and has never taken even the slightest interest in the sacrifices, and takes a little too much interest in this one. We get a Fated Mates, and also my favorite paranormal feature shows up. I don't want to spoil it, but my favorite paranormal extra shows up in this book, and if you want to talk about it, message me on Instagram. That's where I talk spoilers. If you want to talk spoilers about any book that I recommend, message me on Instagram so nobody else can see it. I'll talk all the spoilers that you want. Then I read Gypsy Moon, which is All the Pretty Monsters number 4 by Christy Cunning. We're gonna adjust this and see if it'll stop creaking so much. It's fine. I gave Gypsy Moon 5 stars, Gypsy Rising 5 stars. I gave the 3 before that 5 stars, and the final book 4 stars, which is Gypsy Truth. So this is a reverse harem paranormal. It's between a gypsy and a vampire, a shifter, a unknown paranormal sexual deviant, and a Van Helsing, which is a monster slayer. And this was a fascinating series in that you never really knew what was happening. You did not know whose perspective to believe. Let's say that they think she's weak, or that they think she doesn't know what she's doing, or that they think she's lucky. You never, ever know if they're right, if she has false confidence, if she doesn't have confidence, if she's right, if the viewpoint that you're seeing is being manipulated, or if it's accurate. You don't know anything. It was the strangest, most fascinating series. It was so good. The last book got too weird for me, honestly, and that's why it's a lower rating than everything else, but I loved this series. I read the first 3 in October, the last 3 in November, and it was great. If you like paranormal reverse harems at all, it's excellent. Then I read The House on the Cerulean Sea by TJ Klune. I gave this 5 stars. This is a Booktube darling. It is not a romance book, in my opinion. 1, there's 0 smut. I don't even know if there's a kiss on page. 2, it's focused more on our main character and about him changing his viewpoint and really falling in love with the kids at this orphanage and the entire lifestyle on the island, as well as especially the caretaker. This is an own voices book. It's male, and we have an older main character. Also, it's rated PG. You could read this out loud to your kids. So basically, he works for a ministry that monitors paranormal children and the orphanages, and he's kind of an inspector, and he takes his job very seriously. He lives by the letter of the rule book, and doesn't get attached, doesn't get involved, really cares for the kids, really wants the best for them, but believes that by following the rules, that's the best thing that he can do for them. And he gets called by extremely upper management to go on a classified case and inspect this orphanage, and they really want reports on the caretaker of the house, and they want to know anything that might be wrong. So he goes and he falls in love with everything, and it's so cute and so sweet and so moving and so poignant and so deep. The quotes in this book, the writing, I mean, it's delightful. It really is. It is not the type of book that I usually read. It's not a smutty romance. It's not insta love. It's not quick. It's not all about the couple. But it is a beautiful, beautiful book. And I do highly recommend it if it sounds interesting to you. Then I read Distraction, which is Underground Kings #3 by Aurora Rose Reynolds. I gave this book 4 stars. There is an overarching plot in this series. You could read it as a standalone if you wanted to, but there is definitely a plot. And this is very alpha again. And this one is between a club owner and a determined virgin. I read All I Want by Alexandria House. This is a Christmas short. It was less than 50 pages. I gave it 5 stars. It has a schizophrenic main character and a second chance romance, basically because she broke up with him because of her mental struggles. She didn't want to put him through that, and he's like, I've always loved you. I want to love you. It's Christmas time. You're back. We gotta make it work. So, loved it. Then I read Her Naughty Holiday, which is Men at Work #2 by Tiffany Rise. I read the Halloween one, this is the Thanksgiving one, and there is a Christmas one which I plan on reading. So if you don't want to read the Thanksgiving one because it just happened, there's a Christmas one. You should pick it up. So I gave this one 5 stars. This is a Thanksgiving romance. You could totally still read it. You totally could still read it. But basically she needs a fake boyfriend because her family doesn't think that her being a business owner with a very successful business and happy in life is enough. They want her to be married with kids, and she just doesn't want to deal with it. So she gets a fake boyfriend for Thanksgiving dinner, and it is so delightful. So she runs a nursery, and one of her employees is a teenage girl who is like a neo-pagan and is hilarious and is this guy's daughter. And she is like, I know you have the hots for my dad. Ask him to be your fake boyfriend. And she does. The teenager is going to her mom's for the week, so she's not there. And the teenager totally sets them up, and it's so cute. And the guy's like, well, yeah, I'll be your fake boyfriend, but sex. And she's like, okay. And he's like, I totally was kidding. I thought that you'd say no. So they have sex like the very first night, I think, and I loved it. I loved it so much because even though they're not like in love with each other right away, they've been circling each other for like a year, and we jump right into it. And like I said, the teenager is just so funny. This is a super delightful book, and she stands up to her family, and I love that. I eat that up. That is like my favorite. Like, if you're gonna put me through the annoying family factor, you better have an epic smackdown. And it's so good. It's so good. Then I read A Merry Little Christmas by Nicole Falls. Nicole Falls. I give this book 4 stars. This has like no Christmas content whatsoever. They say Merry Christmas and they go to a Christmas party that has no Christmas bearing, honestly. So it's really not Christmassy, even though it does happen at Christmas. But it was a really cute novella, and basically when he's going to the laundry room in the middle of the night, they stumble across each other and sparks fly. Then I read Tastes Like Winter by Penny Winter. I will have this marked in the description because I went and tried to find another one of her books and couldn't find anything by her on Amazon, so I think she might have gotten removed in like the last week. But I will check again while I'm editing this video. But I read Tastes Like Winter. I gave it 5 stars. It was a super short novella. It was dark. She is basically attempting suicide and not being successful, and she sees an assassin next door and is like, oh, perfect, I'll just get you to do it. And he's like, yeah, no. And he like manipulates her, and it's definitely dark. It's definitely kinky, and has those trigger warnings, and was short, but it was not dark. Like that's the dark content. I don't know. But like I said, I think she might have gotten removed from Amazon, so problematic. Then I read Kate, which is Madison Kate #4 by Tate James. This one, I gave the first 3 5 stars each, although they did walk the line between addictive and annoying. This one tipped into annoying for me. It took me a long time to read it. I read a bunch of books in between. In fact, I started it on Halloween and I didn't finish it until like 3 weeks later. This is a contemporary reverse harem. It's a bully romance, and they ruined her life on Halloween, and now it's a year later and she's out to get revenge, and they hold all the power. And there's a stalker, and somebody's trying to kill her that's not the stalker, and there's just a lot. So there is some very dark content, but this one did tip into annoying for me because it's like they're still making the same dumb mistakes. And they're like, oh, we're making these dumb mistakes. And I'm like, yeah, if you, the author, recognize it and you, the character, recognize it, why are we still making them? So that did annoy me. Then I read Grateful for You, which was Thanksgiving small town romance novella by Katana Collins. I loved her Halloween one. This one I only gave 3 stars. It was very into love. Like they said, I love you within 24 hours of meeting each other. And she is escaping a abusive relationship, and he has been used because he kind of has a thing for damsels in distress. So he's been used before, and so the idea that they were saying I love you within 24 hours seemed really incompatible with their traumas and with their past. So I just didn't like that. But she is escaping an abusive relationship. He is a small town sheriff. She breaks down. He takes her home because the hotel won't let her dog stay, and they fall in love quickly. Then I reread Stuffed, a Thanksgiving novella by Jessica Gadziala. I gave this 5 stars. It was so good. This is a very bookish, nerdy main character who is not necessarily shy, but just so anti-confrontational. Like, she will not do confrontation. She'll just go somewhere else. And she's so cute. I loved her. And she has a potato chip addiction. And just lots of nerdy references, geeky references, and is a reader, constantly has a book, and has a huge crush on her brother's best friend, has not been home for Thanksgiving in the last 6 years, and finds out that not only is she not over her crush, but he's even better as an adult, and he's very sweet. He's very sweet and loves her for exactly who she is, and I loved them. Then I read Lola and the Millionaires, parts 1 and 2 by Catherine Moon. This is an Omega-verse reverse harem, and I gave both books 4 stars. This is Baby in the Late Night Howlers is the first book of the series, and I would say you need to read that one to enjoy this one, honestly. But this is a beta, so she is not an Omega, and there is a pack. They're millionaires. She's working at a fashion magazine. They work at the fashion magazine. Their Omega is a super famous model, and the pack is all males, so she's the only female, and they kind of take her under their wing, and they're super attracted to her, but she has a lot of trauma from alphas abusing her, and that is the source of all angst and conflict in both books. And so that's not my favorite thing. I don't love emotional angstiness. However, the smut was really hot. Also, the second book, I accidentally stayed up till 1 o'clock in the morning reading it. So even though I gave them both 4 stars, they are good. Then I read There Better Be Pie by Jessica Gadziala. This is her other Thanksgiving novella. It was another reread for me, and I gave it 5 stars. This is Enemies to Lovers, and he works for her father at their company, and she no longer works there. She works in New York. She's very into eco-friendly things, and they own a luxury car brand, and her parents are lovely and loving, but they have their disagreements, and that's why she doesn't work there anymore. Well, he thinks that her dad can do no wrong and thinks that she's a spoiled brat who just up and left the company, and she is just like, he's the worst. Like, he is constantly trying to get a rise out of me, and he's so mean, and everybody else gets along with these two and thinks that they're amazing people, and they cannot stand each other. And I had forgotten the level of anger I felt towards the hero at the beginning of this book. No, just the first few chapters. And it's nothing super ridiculously horrible. It's not like abuse or anything. But it's a good enemies to lovers. It's an enemies to lovers thanks to me. So it's a holiday novella, and somehow the level of emotion she drew out of me, where I was just like, oh, you can suck it, you stupid little man. And then loving him and loving them so much is unbelievably good. Like, good job, Jessica, because honestly, it's so good. Anyways, the whole way that it's Thanksgiving is, so her parents invite him to their New England house to have Thanksgiving, and she's just like, ah, this is my family time, he's here, it's ruined, and they fall in love, and they might get snowed in. Lastly, I read Daddy Crush by Adriana Anders. I gave this 3 stars. Are you ready for a rant? Because I'm here to rant. This is a good book. This is a good book. I really enjoyed the main character. I liked him too, even though he was being annoying. And it's an age gap and neighbors and daddy just in the bedroom, and really good. However, this hit one of my major pet peeves. So, if you don't know, my dad is a pastor. I grew up in a very religious family, and I was homeschooled, and I had a lot of rules, and I had very loving parents who were sincere Christians who did the rules because they believed that it was right and because they loved us. And I do not follow the same set of rules as an adult that my parents laid out in their home. And my parents still love me. And they're still a part of my life. And I was homeschooled, and I still am able to function in society. And I don't have trouble talking to people. I wasn't too isolated. I wasn't just like a weird, like, I don't know what you guys think homeschooling is. But every time I read about it, it's this ridiculous stereotype. And it's just like, no. No. So anyways, she's homeschooled. She's a 25-year-old virgin. And also, it's annoyed me so much, doesn't think that God can be real because he wouldn't have made a clit. And I was just like, what? What? What type of misogynistic ridiculousness is this? Like, there is nothing religiously wrong with female pleasure. Let's just put it that way. Okay, there's nothing wrong with it. And the idea that she couldn't experience that without renouncing the religion that she grew up in, / that her dad would basically disown her because she was working with yarn in the city, knitting things. What do you think? No. I understand that there are some people that's like, if their adult children don't do exactly what they say, then they're dead to them. I understand that those people exist. But there are plenty of very religious parents who are maybe oddly conservative, who will love their adult children and support them, even if they don't just get married and pop out babies. I'm sorry, they exist, and this was stupid. Besides that, good book, other than he doesn't think that she can decide anything for herself and what relationship she wants because she's a virgin. I'm sorry, 25-year-olds, their brains don't function unless they've had sexual experiences? What? I understand the idea that you might be like, all right, you just love me because I'm the first man to show you attention. I understand that that's a real thing. But you think that she's brilliant and a genius and all these things, and you don't think that she I can't with it. I'm just so over it. So there's that. I can't. I don't know what you guys think homeschooled people do, but they do leave their houses. I don't know. All right, I'm done. I'm done with the rant. That was the last book that I finished. Thank you so much for watching. I'm so annoyed now. Thanks so much. Bye.